Do you feel that stones do have healing power or they do associate with astrological value? Statement by Dua Lipa stays in my head rent-free. She told that whenever she is in a fix, she always goes to her astrologer, not therapist.
Most Europeans only know what a ruby, sapphire, emerald is and not the billions of other stones, the yellow sapphire. For abundance and prosperity, emeralds or rubies are for power. Pearls are for clarity and purity. They use gemstones for centuries in healing and for astrological reasons.
Welcome to another exciting podcast, live from Bangkok, and I'm recording with none other than Nathali. She's Bangkok-based gemologist. She studied there. She's not only completed her studies, but she's really famous on Instagram for educational content. Without wasting further time, we will have a quick chat with her about what's trending, what it is like to do education course in 2025, and how we all can benefit from that. We will try to give you a quick preview about how you can check color stones by yourself by simple applicable methods. Hi Natalie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Thanks for joining at such a short notice. It was lovely having you on Jewellery Pod. And yes, before connecting with you, I did my homework and loved what you creating and turning on internet.
Thank you.
So tell us about your journey and how come all of a sudden you're from Antwerp? You're here for quite some time.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's lovely meeting you yesterday and today. The reason behind my platform name being The Journey of a Gem is because it's also my journey in gems.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no background or relation to gemstones. Although I'm from Antwerp, which is the capital of diamonds, It did give me some inspiration into following this as my passion. But I ended up coming to Bangkok because my father told me Bangkok is the color stone hub. So I was here on holidays and I went to the Jewellery Trade Center and I saw all the colored stones.
And you ever came
amazed. I thought, how is this possible, I was excited and I thought there's no better way to start than by learning because I feel education is power.
Can I ask what were your initial learnings? I consider if given choice to get into the education of color stone now, I really feel that it's a dark hole. You really cannot come back if you get into it once. What were your initial learnings when you started this?
So I started straight away with doing a gemology degree. So I learned gemstone identification, grading, treatments and synthetic stones, diamond grading, of course, which is a completely separate field, and then grading and pricing of color stones. So it was a very long course, especially the color stones identification. So you have to learn all about the chemical composition, the properties of the stones, so that you can learn to, if someone gives you something, what is it?
Would you like to talk something about your school from where you did this course?
So I went to AIGS, Asian Institute of Gemological Sciences. Usually people go to, GIA is a very known one around the world. AIGS is based inside the Jewellery Trade Center in Bangkok, so it's very centrally located, and I think it offers a great source of education outside the classroom as well. So every time we had lunch break or after class, we could go downstairs and look at all the stones and start, practicing in the trade. So it's a great place to study.
This is very intriguing. May I ask what you studied in the books and when you actually hold a real color stone? Could be anyone. What was any difference, or education in written form is very different in practical form, especially in case of color stones. You don't have a starting and end to it.
The very first stone I held at a booth, I dropped because I was so nervous that I was outside the classroom and I just dropped it with the tweezer. So that was embarrassing. They knew I was a newbie. It was okay. I found it again. But we were very good because at the school I went to, they had thousands of gemstones for us to practice. So in the morning, it was theory with the books. And then every afternoon, we had to sit in the lab for 3 to 4 hours just practicing identifying stones. So it is a very practical course as well. And you have to do both the practical and theory exam. And you have to pass with 100% because you can't misidentify a stone in real life.
Do you know that the Jewellery Pod is an educational platform and the tagline says unlearn and adapt. So everything about latest technology, latest discoveries in the education field, or whatever is trending as business or tech-wise is what I cover on this platform.
Okay.
What do you think if someone wants to do this course and have less patience like me, should go for? How long did you study? The
4 months.
course was
So it's very fast and it's very intense.
that's doable.
I definitely wouldn't do it any shorter because you can't. It was already almost too short, especially for the synthetic and treated stone part of the course. There's such a big world that many people, I had no idea all the treatments available in colors gemstone. And now with the very trending synthetics in the market, it's so much to learn. I definitely wouldn't recommend online learning. I mean, you can study yourself at home just for extra knowledge, but the practical is important.
Jewelry is a tangible industry. There are things, yeah, sure, you can do and achieve online, but surely, like you said, you cannot drop a color stone online.
Yeah.
Very cool, Natalie. And
My biggest advice when you leave the classroom, always keep an elbow or something, the stone on top of the table. So sit down, don't look while standing up. You know, you hold it with a tweezer, it's too risky, no matter how professional you are.
Another good thing I like about your education that led to your career as well. You're selling, you're trading as well.
Yeah.
How that came into the picture. This is something. It's a dream of someone who's doing a degree or a course, and they right away start earning out of it. It's a bliss. So how did that go with you?
So I started my Instagram, and from there, because I was sharing educational content, which is not very common in this industry, because people don't have time, they didn't really see a need for it. And it gained a lot of traction quickly, and people started asking me, "Oh, have you seen this stone? Have you seen that stone?" And it became my little like mission to, you know, it gave me the confidence to go out because someone was looking for it. So I had the buying power. And no matter how small the stone was, and it made me learn about the stone, the pricing of the stone. And then I would send them out, and I started slowly like that. Some jewelers reached out to me, asked me for things they couldn't find back home, or if they didn't have time to travel to Bangkok. So everything is in Bangkok. So having been in Bangkok, I was really in the hub, and people trusted me because I show my face on Instagram and I educate. So I'm trustworthy.
Definitely. When you have such a great following and traction is definitely enviable on Instagram, you can really not go wrong with people's trust.
So when you say price, you have to be very clear on whether it's a carat price or a total price, because some gemstones are, you know, there's no price list for colored gemstones like diamonds. So it's really about the origin, the clarity, the various factors. And sometimes the price is very high.
Having said that, you are not biased yet. And if I see that you've started business lately, you're not biased yet in terms of like whoever is into business for more than 5 years, they develop this bias about pricing, about color stone type. And I love to learn from the people who learn freshly because they have their own views and learning from the experiences. What are the parameters for you to cross check the price that's quoted by the supplier?
Shopping around. So I use Sarah's as my educational base. And again, the Jewelry Trade Center. So when I'm looking for a price, or if someone has asked me to source something for them, I have a few suppliers in mind. I usually stick with the same people because you build then the trust and you build a relationship. It's more about being able to ask someone, do you have this? Being comfortable to ask them to negotiate the price and to understand then that you're serious and they're serious and you come to business together. And then I start understanding the price by having to source the same thing over again, understanding what the market conditions is and like the rarity of the stone. If it takes me longer than usual to find a stone, I know that maybe it's a bit rarer. So then the price will be higher, things like that.
And you have cracked the ecosystem of Bangkok so far. What are the other territories to find color stones? India is a great hub. Have you ever
I would
visited
love
to?
to.
There are various shows and that you should explore, and it will be a new discovery for you. Trust me on that.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to go. It's definitely on my bucket list. Next week, I'm going to Sri Lanka.
How cool.
So I will be visiting the market there and some mines. So that will be very exciting.
And what kind of price differential you have found in Sri Lanka, or even sourcing from India or Bangkok or elsewhere?
So last month, or at the beginning of the month, actually, I was in Tucson, which is one of the largest gem fairs as well, in Arizona. And there's a lot going on there. It's definitely bigger for the US market. And I noticed the price difference is also related to the quality difference. So if you're looking at American cut gemstones or Asian cut gemstones, because of the cost of labor and efficiency and things like that. So, and also the disposable income is different. So that's why they're willing to pay more or aren't aware of the prices in Asia. So the Jewellery Trade Center, you'll find a lot more competition because everyone is trying to sell their stones. They come from other places in Asia. So they're from India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and everyone's trying to sell in one building or in various buildings around Bangkok. Whereas if you are in the US for a trade fair or something like that, you have limited supply.
What would you suggest to someone who's looking to buy color stones if he can break it down market wise?
Come to Bangkok. I think you have to, when you're buying color stones, as long as you know specifically what you're looking for budget wise, but also treatment and the quality of your stone, then you can aim to find, some people say go to the source. So like if you're looking for sapphires, go to Madagascar or Sri Lanka, things like that. But I think if you're not, unless you have the buying power to buy huge bulk or rough, it's better to just go to a trading hub like Bangkok, like a trade fair, like the Hong Kong fair, and then source from wholesalers.
And I know you might not like this, but I have a question about. I was very intrigued when I saw beautiful, clear, lab-grown color stones. You can choose not to answer, but I was intrigued. I'm into commercial business of the jewelry manufacturing, and I deal with lots of retailers across the world, day in and day out. They love clear stones, and they don't even care about the quality or the origin of the color stone per se. So I found them great. What's your say when it comes to color stones and development of lab-grown color stones? If you have seen Annabella Chen, she's doing amazing work. Her work is being appreciated. She's using lots and lots of lab-grown color stones with different kind of metals.
I saw a shop in Paris as well that they solely do lab color stones. It's definitely clean, sparkly. I think it loses its appeal. I understand the market for lab grown, especially from a commercial point of view. Huge margins, easier to control your outputs because the quality is all the same. But at the same time, it loses its charm. It's kind of, I would compare it to fast fashion. So with clothing, because it doesn't have the love of earth in
I
it.
understand. I'm not a color stone expert myself. I just know a side of it. And what I have realized so far that you're in love with the flaws of the color stone. That's what makes it lovable and popular. Any popular stones that you would love to talk on this platform?
Let's talk a very hot stone at the moment, Paraiba from Brazil or Mozambique, Nigeria. So the flaws, what gives it the neon color is the copper content. So what people don't realize is the copper content from where it originates from in Brazil, in the Paraiba region, is higher, which is why the color is much more vibrant and neon than in Mozambique and Nigeria. But there are also ones that are of that level from those countries. So inclusions inside, if you look at any stone actually from nature through the microscope, it's like a whole other world. That's also why they call Colombian emeralds, the inclusions. By the way, for those who don't know, inclusions are the birthmarks in a stone. So if you look at a Colombian emerald, inside it's like a forest. So they nicknamed it Le Jardin, which is garden in French.
Beautiful.
That's really beautiful because then it links to the green color of an emerald. And I think that's like, it adds to the charm. So some people, if you say, especially when you're selling online, it's difficult to show an emerald because it's the most impossible color to capture. And it's like, it glows at you in person, but on a picture, it's dull. And then they see a little mark and they're like, oh, it's included. But it has a charm because it shows that it's natural. You're holding, it's like a stone that's been made over millions of years. It had to have the right, like environmental pressures, you know, temperature, right chemical composition to give you that color.
There are way too many factors. I'm very sure I'm not even aware of them, but there are lots of factors that contribute while forming a stone. Coming back to Paraiba and how the prices are exceptionally blown, what's the factor behind that?
Rarity. So there's only one mine in Brazil that's still mining Paraiba, and so that's where it was first discovered, and it's already only one mine, very little output, and if there is output, they're very small pieces, usually very highly included, and if they're clean, they're rare, like very rare, exceptionally rare, and especially bigger pieces. You don't see big pieces from Brazil in the market. They're snapped up before any of the public sees it. And then there's the two other origins now available, Mozambique and Nigeria. They also have beautiful colors. It ranges from greens to neon blues. But again, it's the color and the clarity. It's very hard. Tourmalines in general, it's a tourmaline. They are very included. And to find a clean stone, it's difficult. And it's with that nice color, it's even harder.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us, Nathali. One topic I would love to know your take on this. Usually, now that you've studied color stones in detail, when you go to West, they really don't care about astrological power or the healing power of the stone. They might believe in healing power of the stone, but not the astrology part of it. Moving to my part of the world, they won't even touch sapphire if their guru or pandit would recommend them to wear it. They call it a really super powerful stone. Another statement by Dua Lipa stays in my head rent free when she told that whenever she's in trouble or she's in a fix, she she always goes to her astrologer, not therapist. What do you have to say about this?
I actually love being in the East because not only that, but you have a love for color stones here, which lacks in Europe. Most Europeans only know what a ruby, sapphire, emerald is and not the like billions of other stones there are. But I have a friend actually that I studied with. He wore a yellow sapphire on his left hand, I think, on his pinky ring finger in a special like yellow gold setting because he went back home to India and someone special told him that he had to wear this size and shape and everything of a yellow sapphire. I also my friend asked me to source her something recently that would about for abundance and prosperity because she just opened a new restaurant. So emeralds usually go with that, or rubies are for power. Pearls are for clarity and purity. So I actually think it has something beautiful.
Have you heard from them yet? Those friends?
She's doing great.
But do you feel that stones do have a healing power or they do associate with astrological value?
I think so because I believe they used gemstones for centuries in healing and for astrological reasons. So there must be something behind it. And that's why I also recently gifted a friend of mine who was not well a beaded bracelet for various healing powers. I don't know.
This is really interesting. No, until some times back, talking about almost like when I started my career in industry, I joined a commercial factory as sales intern, and I was supposed to go to Dubai and take care of the business. I was wearing an emerald. I was wearing yellow sapphire and a silver band. It was quite a lot to work in a jewelry factory, and the CEO of the factory, also my mentor, Mr. Deepak Jain, that time, he told me that, do you know that, do you have some understanding that you're coming to work in a factory which is producing jewelry and you're not supposed to wearing one yourself? And if you won't mind, can you let me know what these three rings are all about? I told him this is about this is about this, and this is about this. He said, okay, but if these rings gonna work for you, what you gonna do? So let's follow a protocol, and you have to remove these rings before you start your work. With due respect to all the stones and their healing power and everything, I removed it. Honestly, this is an accessory right now I'm wearing. Just matches with my attire. Honestly, touch would have never felt anything. But yeah, there are big books written on this, longer than this conversation.
Yeah.
So there's a thing about it. Good that we discussed that part. What else, Nathali, that one a trader should know before buying color stones? Tell me from commercial point of view and from collector's point of view.
So from a commercial standpoint, obviously there's a lower budget, and sometimes a lot of the time these stones aren't certified. So having a good understanding of what you're looking at, using a loop, some 10 times magnification to really see inside and see, are you buying something that's heated, which is the most common treatment. I was actually approached a few times asking if like even an amethyst was natural or synthetic. So they synthesize the smallest, cheapest stones, which is almost not worth, it's probably the same price point, but it's things to be wary of. And then on a collector's perspective, there is no budget. So just make sure you have the most beautiful stone. It's most commonly not seen by most people. So you have to be in the know. And then if it's collectible, it's collectible. And there's always someone out there that wants to pay that price, which can be into the millions. And yeah, that's it. So yeah, and if you want to learn more about gemstones, there is so much more than people realize in the colored stone world. So it's really fascinating, and I usually share new stones all the time in like fun facts or just gem of the day, and I do quizzes so that people can like see the variety, see what's out there, and at different price points.
And they can send you your business query.
Of course. If you're looking to source anything, I'm always happy to find the impossible and the possible.
Great. Thank you, Nathali, for sharing all these with us. It was great having you on the pod. And I do look forward to your visit to Dubai. Let me walk to the alleys of Dubai where we find great color stones. Probably that would be a new discovery for you.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love that.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for staying with us for this interesting podcast. I do hope you loved it. Share your queries and feedback below in comments. Interact with the Jewellery Pod on all the 7 channels. I post on Spotify, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and let us know what you want to hear next. Till we meet again. Thank you.